Hey, this is Tyler, and you are listening to the Analytic Podcast. Today, I'm going to talk to you about why copywriting isn't all it's cracked up to be. And in fact, the one thing that will make even the crappiest copy convert better. You are listening to the Analytic Podcast. Hey guys, it's Tyler with analytic.com. And today I'm going to talk about building trust, right? Building trust. And one of the big problems that I see with copywriting. So if you've ever taken any copywriting course or read any copywriting book, there are a ton of really useful pointers and tips and all that related to copywriting. But here's what I'm finding: the more copy I write, the more ads I create, is that you can have the best copy in the world, right? You can really highlight emotional triggers. You can make it flow naturally. You can use story and narrative. You can do all these things that are sort of the tips and tricks of copy, but people still won't buy, right? And why is that? And I know that one of the main reasons people won't buy is because they don't trust you. Right, on the internet, everybody sells everything, and there are a bunch of questionable copywriters selling questionable products online. And so people are immune to even the best copy if they don't trust the source, right? And yeah, maybe some people will buy it if it's a low enough price, a low enough risk for them. They might actually go out and commit to it. But if they trust you, right? If they trust you, they'll buy almost anything that you have. And I think this is the difference, right? Is when I want to ask my wife or my parents or somebody in my family or my friends for a favor, I don't need to use ultra-persuasive copy. I don't need to talk about what's in it for them all the time. I don't need to really try and persuade them hard, right, to do me a favor. I don't need to do that because they trust me. Right? Because I've been there for them. I've established relationships. They've been there for me. We have a mutually beneficial relationship that we've already established, right? So I can just ask and they're willing to do it. The problem is, a lot of times with our customers, we don't bother establishing that relationship before we ask for the sale, right? We just go in for the sale, and we think that if we can make a good enough landing page, if we can make our copy persuasive enough, if we can build a strong enough case and use all these psychological triggers, that we will be successful. And we will, right? Eventually, we'll pull enough levers and we'll be successful. But it's way easier, right? It's way easier to make the sale if people trust you, right? And before somebody is willing to buy, before they're willing to trust you, there's a few things that they need, 3 in particular. So if you're taking notes, write this down. I'm at some point going to release a blog on this, but I think it's super, super helpful. So the first one, they need to respect you, right? They need to respect that you know what you're doing, that your product does what it says it's going to do. So if you sell information products or you're a consultant, right, they need to respect that you know what you're doing, that you have the knowledge that's going to help them achieve what they want to achieve, right? Before somebody hires Analytic, they need to trust that our team knows what we're doing enough to actually make an impact in their business, right? That we're not just some, fly-by-night operation, that we're not rookies at this, that if they're going to pay our fee to come work with us, that we actually know what we're doing. They have to respect us. There has to be mutual respect there. That's part of the reason we produce so much content, right? It's part of the reason I send out my email newsletter. It's part of the reason that I have white papers and guides, that I teach, that I do speaking events, that I do even this podcast, right? Is that I want people to know that I know what I'm doing, right? And sure, I'm always learning. I'm not perfect. But the fact is, I'm pretty good, and our team is pretty good because we've worked really hard. We invest in trainings. We try things in the real world, right? We try with our own company. We invest in advertising. Right now, I'm paying for ads across 3 different platforms to generate leads for our business, right? When I talk about podcasting, at least I have some experience because I'm literally sitting here in our office recording a podcast. It's not something theoretical. It's something super practical. So the first thing that we need is respect, that the customer has to respect you. If you're selling a product, they have to respect your product. They have to trust that it is, if it's, again, an info product, that it's going to give them the tips, the vehicle, the tools that they need to actually make a difference and to lose weight, right? Or if it's a backpack, that they have to respect your product, that you're going to deliver your product that's going to be high quality, that it's going to last, that, when they're on the ski slope or they're camping or they're going between classes or on the subway, whatever the situation is, that your bag is going to last and it's going to keep delivering, right? They have to respect the product. All right, some practical ways to do that is, again, talk about anything related to the durability of the product. Talk about your experience in a humble way. Tell stories. Show people who are using the product or using the service or using the info product. Again, testimonials here are really helpful. Okay, so respect is number one. The second one is trust, right? Here's the weird thing about trust, is that the more time you spend with somebody, the more they are likely to trust you. Okay, now I'm going to repeat this because it's super important. The more time you spend with somebody, the more likely they are to trust you. Okay, so that's why you trust your friends and your families, because you have spent a lot of time with them. And again, assuming that they don't stab you in the back or something like that. But there's also this weird psychological I guess syndrome, right? Stockholm syndrome. If you've never heard of it, it's this idea that, like, even in hostage situations, right? So you have bad guys with guns who go into a building and they take a bunch of hostages. Over time, that eventually the hostages and the hostage takers, right? The good guys or the victims and the bad guys will start to develop a rapport with each other. They'll start to trust each other. And in fact, the hostages will actually come to the aid of the hostage takers, as when police or whoever come in and try and diffuse the situation and get everybody out safe. It's crazy, right? That within a couple of weeks of spending quality time, right? Or not even quality time, just time with somebody else, that hostages are willing to protect their hostage takers. So if they're willing to do that after spending time with each other, what do you think spending time with your clients, with your customers actually does, right? Spending time with them in meetings, spending time with them through video content and on webinars, spending time with them on phone calls. This is a reason that I drive quite a bit. We have a couple clients in Denver, Boulder. Like, I spend a lot of time on the road to go down there just to be present, right? Just to be present with them so that we build trust, so that I trust them more, they trust me more, right? The more FaceTime I can spend with them, the more time I can spend on calls with them, the more they are going to trust me. Right. And again, I think Stockholm syndrome is crazy. If you're not familiar with it, Google it. But the idea that you could actually learn to trust somebody and build rapport with somebody who is actively seeking to harm you is such a powerful idea. How much more if during this time you're actually helping people, right? So building trust is spending time with them. And that's why we do so much content marketing. Is the more podcasts, the more videos, the more blogs, the more emails, the more that people hear from us, right? I know that over time, I'm building trust with them, right? By providing value. And then, so first is respect. Second is trust. So respect, trust. And the third one is rapport. And how do you build rapport with somebody? You build rapport by continually helping them, right? So trust takes time, but rapport is when you actually help them. That, yes, they respect you, they know what you're doing, they trust you, spend time with them, but you actually build rapport with them by helping them. That's why hopefully this content that we produce is helpful. That's why anytime I work with a client, we focus on developing really valuable content so that we can build rapport. So not only do we know what we're doing, but then we're starting to help people in the industry, people who are struggling, right? Because the truth is, almost everybody struggles with marketing, right? Everybody's looking for new ways to go about it. And there's a lot of noise out there. And we try and provide massive value right off the bat to clients to cut through the noise, to build rapport. Right. And if we can do these three things consistently, if they respect us, that we are professionals, that you are professionals, that your product does what it says it does, trust, again, put the brand in front of them, put value in front of them, be present as much as possible, they'll build trust. And finally, build rapport, right? Help them, provide value to their lives, entertain them, make them laugh, help them solve a problem, whatever that thing is. If RTR, right? Respect, trust, and rapport. If you do that, it is almost inevitable that people will buy from you. It's not going to be about your sales copy. It's not going to be about your sweet long form sales letter or your sales video or any of that other stuff. That is going to be very much secondary. I would rather have respect, trust, and rapport built up with somebody than have an amazing piece of copy, right? Now, ideally, you want both of those. You want a great sales letter, but you also want all of these things. But even the simplest website, if somebody respects and trusts you and you build rapport with them, they will convert on even the simplest, crappiest website. Whereas you could have the best website in the world, but if you don't have those three things, you don't have respect, you don't have trust, you don't have rapport, it's going to be an uphill battle every single time. And then the sweet spot really comes where you get both of those, right? You get the persuasive sales copy that you convince them to buy, that you're helping them. You lead them through a process. You engage with them through sales copy, but they also have the respect, trust, and rapport already built up. So this is why, for example, if you follow any of the guys, particularly like Russell Brunson, again, amazing entrepreneur, talks a lot about ClickFunnels and how to build funnels and how to build landing pages. That's all really helpful. But the fact is that when Russell launches a funnel, he's going to have a lot of people that buy, not because his funnels are so amazing and not because his copy is so amazing. Yes, he's very good at what he does, and I don't ever want to diminish that. But a large portion of the people who buy, I know because I bought his products and services. And the reason I buy is not because the sales copy is so persuasive, but because I want to know what he knows, that I trust him, that he's continued to deliver value to me as the end user, and that basically as he produces more content to me, I learn to trust him, right? I respect him because I know what he's doing, because he's built several great companies. I trust him because he's constantly there and constantly providing value to me, and then that value also builds rapport, right? He's helped me. His books, his content, right, is something that has helped me as a marketer. So when he releases a new piece of content, or a new product or a new service, I'm already thinking about buying, right? I see the value in that. Not because his copy is so good, trust me, it is good, he knows what he's doing, but simply because he's already built trust with me. And if you can build trust with people, you're already almost finished with the sale, right? You just got to close the deal. So if you are building funnels and you are using ads and all of this, and it doesn't seem to be working, I would say, how in the next 1 to 3 months do you really start to build trust and build rapport? That would be the first step. Then your funnels, even if they're just okay, will be 2, 3, 4 times more effective. This is Tyler, and you are listening to the Analytive Podcast.